Commence primary ignition.
What's up, guys? I'm Emily Swallow. If you're looking at this, you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network. This is the way.
I love Emily. She's so snarky. It's great.
The best.
She's the best.
Well, happy Monday, Rebels.
Hi.
Woo! We are 1 week away from the VCN family vacation, and I know everyone is in like final. It's the final countdown. We're in final countdown mode. Yeah. And I'm off the beat. We also have a packed week of programming in this week, getting ready for the virtual for the virtual Cantina family vacation. Tonight we had, right before this, if you missed it, it was basically like a full recap of all things celebrating autographs. So Frank was on with Dave, and they covered sort of an abbreviated version of the 3 individual episodes that I did with Dave a couple weeks ago. So Frank was back on. They did a bunch of like going through the signers.
We're bartending week ways.
There we go. So that happens. Obviously, we have our show tonight where we're recapping The Acolyte.
Hi, Sarah.
I know. Hello, Sarah. I'm going to see you in real life in like a week. I can't wait.
It's
going to be so fun. And then tomorrow, for everyone who's on the family vacation, Disneyland is part of the trip. We're doing a special thing on the network. Hey, John. Disneyland, like a Disneyland explainer, I guess. Hey, Jeff, you're going to be on tomorrow night. Tell everyone what this Disney show is all about on the network.
So I didn't throw the graphic in here, but basically John, Mike, and I, John Chiato, Mike Delacard, as some people know him, and myself will be basically we have a group chat called the Disney Dudes. So on the graphic,
I love it.
it's called a Q&A with the Disney Dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me, Mike, and John, and
that'd be so fun.
So it'll be basically us talking about our favorite things in general about Disneyland, some of the tricks and tips we know about navigating the park and the resort itself. You know, what our favorite snacks and food and whatever items are, you know, our favorite gift shops. Ronto wraps or you know, anything in Batu is pretty close to the top, but there are other parts of the park. So you know, we'll be talking about our favorite characters that you might encounter, our favorite merch spots, our favorite you know, everything that we can think of in terms of the park, downtown Disney, maybe even some DCA stuff, things that, you know, apply to people that are coming to enjoy themselves.
Me too, Dave. Me too.
Yes. Those are my go-to. Like you were talking Ronto wraps. They do have a breakfast Ronto wrap on Batu.
So good.
I don't mind it, but it's not my go-to. My go-to is the breakfast chimichanga, which is at a cart right next to the Mark Twain paddle boat, river boat. Between that and Big Thunder here in Anaheim, there's a nice little cart, and they do breakfast chimichangas. But when they're out, they're out. So they're a hot item where you got to get into the park fairly early and be able to, you know, get in line and grab one before they sell out, because they're a finite amount. And then they switch over to the regular chimichangas, which I don't quite like nearly as much, but are an okay kind of quick grab and go item. So, you know, it's there's a lot of things like that we're familiar with that others may not be. and some of us are more well versed in certain areas than others.
Yeah, because you're
So
local to the park, so you're
yeah,
there pretty frequently.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what Disneyland is. It's a locals
Yeah.
park.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I love it so much. It
tends to be a lot of regulars there.
Hmm.
Yes, come with your Disney questions for sure. Disneyland specific questions, Disneyland resort specific questions, Disney less than Disneyland.
Hmm. Yep. And look, I know Disney World
Ooh.
better. I decided to wear one of my Disney shirts that I will not be taking with me on the family vacation
right.
because it is black and heavy.
Oh,
And this
yeah,
is from
that'll
Star
keep you
Wars
hot.
Weekends, which I love Star Wars Weekends. I wish they'd bring it back. But yeah,
Yeah.
so everyone, special programming. Tune in tomorrow to the Disneyland, the Disneyland dudes, which should be
It's basically VCN invades Disneyland, which is what we're calling that day, next Wednesday, a week from a little bit over a week and a half or so.
And we have quite the agenda that day. Like, there's reservations at the cantina. Like, there's all sorts of stuff happening. So I think
breakfast reservations, there's dinner reservations, there's bar cantina reservations, like you said. We have some ideas of. There's a swag meetup. There's a whole mess of things. We're going to do a group photo by the Falcon. So, so it's going to be pretty intense. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do, but there'll be plenty of time to do your own thing and
Avengers Campus.
Yeah.
So that's DCA. Yes, we will be for the most part in Disneyland proper. I believe the ticket that people got with their trip purchase is just Disneyland. So that's a little bit of a drawback in terms of trying to see both parks, but having one park to visit is really it's kind of enough when it comes to Disneyland itself. It is pretty massive. There's quite a few rides, way more rides in Disneyland, the original Walt's Magic Kingdom, than there is in the Magic Kingdom in Florida, which is weird to me because I would think that it would have kind of been laid out in a similar fashion, but it's
more densely populated with activity in
Disneyland.
We're
smaller and we have a ton more stuff.
Yeah.
And also, unfortunately landlocked, but there is going to be some expansion coming soon, which will make it a different vibe.
Nice. Yeah. Sherry has a question. With the closures, isn't the Chimichangas cart out of the way if you want a rope drop resistance?
No. So the Chimichanga cart is actually on one of the two paths that will be open. So you go into you go to the hub. Straight up Main Street to the hub, make a left before you get to the castle, go into Frontierland. Go into Frontierland, you walk past the shooting gallery, which we still have. If you're first in the park for rope drop, shooting gallery is free. That's another tip we'll be talking about tomorrow. You go past Big Thunder and make a right, and right there is where the cart is. If you had gone to the left and went around Rivers of America towards the Haunted Mansion, that's the walkway that's going to be closed. So where the Chimichanga cart is going to be one of the main pathways to Batu. The other way would be going straight through the castle into Fantasyland and then making a right and coming in the third entrance, which we have and Florida does not, which drops you out right next to the Thai Echelon. And real quick access to both Oga's and the Thai and the Milk Stand and the Falcon. So it's a little bit more direct, but it's a different, you come into, it's really nice too, because the entryway into that area is kind of ornate. And since it's not something that you get to see in the other version of Batu, it's kind of a cool little photo op when you're entering. But so there'll be it will be good with chimichangas if we get in the park early enough.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Well, so everyone tune in tomorrow for more on
and
the
ask
Disney
more
front.
of those questions.
Yes, that was a great question.
They'll have a lot of expertise for you. I did want to grab a couple comments from the stack. My favorite so far is from Sarah. I agree that the world is ready.
It's
for
so not.
and we have multiple days. So, as a reminder, I'm doing a portion of the family vacation. I won't be the whole time, but I will be there for San Diego Comic-Con as
Yeah.
well. Again, a portion. So, getting there Saturday for San Diego, and Sunday, and then heading on up to the Deadpool Wolverine screening, and then I'll be there at the two events, the signing events on Monday, Tuesday, and then Disneyland on Wednesday, though not Disneyland dinner, because at that point I will have to be in a cab off to the airport for my
Right.
red-eye flight.
Mm.
And you won't believe it, but we have a new employee starting on Monday the 29th while I am out of the office. So
Oh no.
it is a guarantee now that I need to red-eye home, get home, shower, and then go into the office on Thursday. It's a must-do, which is fine. Like, it makes a lot of sense, but it's all very exciting. Sherry, I am also looking forward to seeing everyone. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so nice just to get all of us together in one place. We do it so infrequently, but these conventions I know bring a lot of people together, whether it's
Yeah.
San Diego, Rhode Island,
Shower.
Boston. There's a bunch of them. So yeah,
Spencer.
showers are optional. Absolutely not.
Stinky.
This
That's
is
what
why
we
I'm
make
not
body
rooming with
spray
you.
for.
All right, so tonight our actual topic is the Acolyte, and I know we've had like a week to sort of breathe with it at this point. I think the initial reviews came in and people were pretty satisfied with the finale. We're now giving ourselves a little bit of time to think about the series as a whole. What did we like about it? What did we not like about it? What do we wish there was more of? What we think worked? What didn't work? Do we have any connections to Rebels? I didn't really catch any. Yes, Sherry, we're gonna shower.
Other than the little cameo at the end.
Yeah. And in general, one of the things I really liked about the Acolyte, we're gonna jump right in. What did we like? The number one thing I liked about the Acolyte is that it had almost nothing to do with the Skywalkers. It's a different
Almost.
place and time. Yeah, I would say 98%. And actually, if you didn't know the connections, they were so unnecessary to Anakin and in theory to Kylo and Palpatine and all of that. If you never heard of Luke, Anakin, Palpatine, or anything, or even Yoda
Oh yeah, you
before
wouldn't
this
know.
show, you could just watch this and be like, oh, what a weird little compelling story about some space karate chopping in the air and some weird little like laser swords. Like, there's nothing in here that you're dependent on prior lore, and there's nothing that really connects so strongly to like the other parts of the saga that you needed, that it really felt fresh in that regard.
Yeah,
Like, that's my favorite
that is
part of
so
all of
true.
it.
Yeah. My favorite part of this is the amount of acting. Like there was some insanely good acting in this series, especially as I've sung his praises this whole time. But Lee Jung Jae, the man is Korean. He is a huge superstar in Korea.
Hmm.
We know him here in America for Squid Game. Um, he's busted his butt to learn English because he wanted this role so badly. And the amount of emotion and depth he brings to Soul, like, absolutely stunner from start to finish. And I was destroyed. I was like absolutely destroyed when our Soul met his end at the hands of OSHA of
Hmm.
all
Oh,
people.
we're gonna talk spoilers, by the way. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
It's been about a week now, so
Yeah,
hopefully you guys
just
are all
fair
seen it.
warning to everyone in the chat. If you haven't seen the show, we are going to give away plot points,
Yeah.
and talk about it at length and give our strong critique on such plot points.
But even then you could see the struggle and the amount of care he had for his former Padawan.
Mhm.
It was a really sad ending for me, but I'm hoping what he learned um will bring some, obviously the mystery is going to continue because there's still some threads out there, but
Mhm.
he just absolutely slayed it. um
Yeah, he was
i
great.
I thought Manny Jacinto
Mm.
was phenomenal. Surprise phenomenal. Here we are
Mhm.
thinking the first time we see him, oh, he's just another quirky little street rat. No, he changed the game, kids.
MVP of the series in my
Yeah,
mind.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So kudos to him. Daphne Keene coming back from her turn as X-23 / Laura, and Logan as Padawan Jackie.
Jackie, justice for Jackie.
Justice for Jackie. We're
Yeah.
still bitter about that. But yeah, just
Mhm.
huge acting all the way around. And Amanda Steinberg, like she did an amazing job for something that was so complicated, and probably before we were just like, oh, it's kind of parent trappy and blah blah blah. It kind of fell into that regard, but she managed to pull it back and re-
We're gonna
Sorry.
interrupt this.
We will
Yeah,
get there, girl. We will so get there.
and I'll put up Scooby's, which is a little more wholesome.
Yeah.
But let's stay on Manny for a second,
Yeah, we will.
and come back to Amandla because there's something, and I read it online. Someone else verbalized it better than I was able to. I think when I was trying to say this last week, the dark side is supposed to be seductive, and
Mhm.
Manny Jacinto's character is seductive in multiple ways. Aside from the fact that he's physically incredibly attractive,
Mhm.
like objectively, like even straight guys in the chat, right? Like that's a body you would want. Like he's in amazing shape. Like he just like looks good, and he's very suave. Yeah, he's super thirst trap. And look, and I've also never seen that close to nudity in Star Wars. We saw Anakin shirtless, and then they played Kylo's shirtlessness kind of for a gag. Even the women who are like sort of scantily clad, like,
Padme.
are like
Oh
they
yeah.
give her a little midriff, like she's not quite in a bra, but like there's not a ton of coverage. This was like some serious, like, oh, you're legitimately naked, and you probably actually shot that from a production perspective, naked. Like it's the kind of thing, and you
Yeah.
were saying, "I'm in this water. Come join me in this water." Like it was very seductive, which the dark side is supposed to be. It's supposed to tempt you with what you
Yeah.
want, and it's supposed to be like the path that you want to take, even though you know you shouldn't. And we're all getting in that water with Man Jacinto.
Sorry. Dark side, here I come.
Yeah,
um, but I think that's another reason why it was something new, because where else have we seen that? We
yeah.
haven't.
Who are all the hot
Sorry.
dark side users? There's not a one. Anakin was as close as you got, but like certainly not episode two Anakin. Hayden Christensen is striking, but Anakin in episode two is not attractive in any way, shape, or form. He's like actually quite repulsive. And it's because of his behavior and his like just inability to articulate a sentence and his like the coarse sand.
Awkward
Yeah,
teenage.
exactly, which is
Right.
intentional, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that is the way it should be. And he's more attractive in episode 3, but like he's not really seductive. And honestly, like Kylo Ren kind of isn't either. Adam Driver is gorgeous and like not super like convincing to like I don't really want to go be a Sith with Kylo Ren.
Yeah, exactly. Scooby brings up a good point. His manipulation verbally was seductive as well, real enticing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he was the total package. This is the
Yeah.
total Sith package, and
Look, I didn't need a lot of convincing, but he was also equally convincing.
John brings up a good point. I love when they made the characters more human. They had real motivations that they believed in, even when they were huge mistakes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm so drawn to Soul, because he was all in on this. He knew there was something wrong about this Virgins and what it could mean for the Jedi,
Mhm.
but he also saw these children as innocent victims in this,
Yeah.
and um, I believe that he was thinking of the future of the Jedi and where this could be a problem, and yet he let his care and concern take over, and that's where the end happens. So
Can we talk about the quantity of huge mistakes?
yeah,
Because not so the sentence, John, when you said even when there were huge mistakes, I feel like this show is like one huge mistake after another, and like everyone just like fell in line with like, oh, we have two
episode
choices ahead
7.
of us. What should we do? And I was like, oh, the wrong one, the wrong one. Oh, yet another wrong one. How do we fix this? Make the wrong choice. Like it went on, and including with our girl. Oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. The green lady.
Vernestra.
What's wrong with me? Vernestra Rowe. Yeah, like even she, who should have been the moral compass and the one to like being the elder statesman and the one who makes the tough decision. Instead, she confronted it and then covered it up and then covered up the cover up. And then goes to Yoda, and who knows what the hell she's going to say to Yoda. Maybe she'll be truthful to
So
him,
I
but like,
have speculation about that. I really think she will be truthful to Yoda, because Yoda tends to operate on more of an honest level outside of the council, and she knows that it won't be tattled to the
mhm,
council, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So she knew that Soul I believe like because of her hyperspace visions, if you read the High Republic novel, Vernestra Rowe gets visions in hyperspace that makes
Mhm.
her sick, and it's kind of a way of seeing into the future. And I think um she is also able to like connect and like see things that have come before. So her under when she finds Soul's body and she kind of like it's like when you hit your phone and you take a picture and it's like a live picture, you see everything that happened before the moment
Mhm.
that photo was taken. It's kind of like that, and I think she was doing that with Soul and just kind of understanding what had happened and what he had learned
Does
before he
Cal
had.
Kestis have that in Jedi Fallen Order? Is that the same thing?
I think
Is that the
so.
same power? I think it's close,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
close. Um, but I think she just kind of saw that and was like, "Oh, I have to more research needs to be done, but somebody has to be aware about this. So I'm going to cover it up with the council. I'm going to make it go away formally. I'm sorry that this happened to you." Like I don't think she was apologizing for the fact that she's going to cover this up and make him a villain.
That's my
I,
concern, though.
I think she
Yeah.
was apologizing to him because she didn't believe him. And I think she was apologizing because he went through all this and nobody was listening and he felt like he had to do it alone. So now she has to pretend that that didn't happen and Soul was this villain.
Yeah,
And
I don't like that.
I
I mean,
don't
because
like
now
that.
in the record books, Soul is the villain.
Yeah.
Dave, this kills me with Yoda being part of the cover up. Also, I'm gonna make a big bold statement that's gonna make a lot of people angry. I
Okay.
don't really like Yoda. I don't. I didn't really love him in the original trilogy to begin with because I thought he was actually manipulative and deceitful and
Yeah.
like not a particularly great teacher to Luke and kept information from him that I thought could have been useful.
Yeah.
And maybe
Stop
some of that is
withholding
production.
information, Jedi.
Yeah.
It's so
And look, I
annoying.
and I get some of that as like production and for like making the movie, right? I mean, but like I never was drawn to him. And then in the Clone Wars, you watch him obviously again for production reasons. We have to watch the Jedi make mistakes. But like the prequels and the Clone Wars paint Yoda and all of the Jedi as such idiots. And like Yoda being at the top of that, like he's responsible. When the company goes
Yeah.
bankrupt, it's the CEO's fault. It's Yoda's fault. Like, yes, there was an evil lurking and Palpatine's the villain in all of this, but like Yoda made so many bad decisions and like missed so many things and like just really it's hard for me to feel sympathy for him and I don't
And
really
then
like
went
him.
into exile about it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And look, as a character, I think that's great to show someone, failing that hard, right? And
Right.
seeing the consequences thereof. It's not that I have a problem with the writing. I just don't like him as a character. Um, so yeah, him being in this show though was unnecessary. Like I didn't need that little stinger at the end. Like I didn't care to see him. I didn't need to see him. I actually think it's like he could be included or not. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'm already like not a
Right.
Yoda apologist. I don't really like him. For Nestra Rowe, on the other hand, I do have to wonder if people who love her from the High Republic see her painted as like a villain type because I took away with this being like this bitch. Like she's like covering up
Well,
and
that's why
covering
we
up
wanted
and
to talk to Jamie about this on Wednesday night
yeah.
because she
Oh
is
girl.
a huge Vanessa fan, so we know
Yes,
what's
she
it's gonna
loves
happen.
her. I only know about Vernestra Rowe because of Jamie. Like, I don't
Yeah,
read the books. I'm
exactly.
just full stop, guys. I can't keep up with everything. I'm the head of licensed product at Ruby's. I have to watch everything, so I can't get too deep anymore. I'm now in a
Right.
position where like my expertise is not as deep on anything. I'm more broadly available to things, and
Yeah.
so I'm sad for the people who must have loved her as a character and had her on a
But
pedestal
Jamie
because I
was
think this show paints
really,
her as either
really
incompetent
happy.
or a villain.
Jamie was really, really happy with it according to her Instagram. So that made
Mhm.
me happy. It was like, okay,
Good.
well, this is going in a direction that will make the diehards happy, like the absolute diehards. So I trust in it.
Yeah.
If that
I,
makes sense.
I'm trying not to ask her about it before the show because I want like all
I
unfiltered
know.
like
I just
show.
want Jamie to just
So
throw it out there. I'm excited for it.
I
So
think we've told people in the
Wednesday
chat. You
night,
guys
9
probably
p.m.
know this.
Yeah.
Ashley and I are like legit friends in real life, but we
Yes.
try not to talk business and when we're not on air together so we can legitimately be surprised. Like we'll
Yeah.
agree on topics and every now and then we'll send each other like memes and stuff, but we don't get into in our own personal chat or in the Rebels chat like specifics about what's going on in like our either how we're going to comment on the episodes or when there's something on air unless some crazy shit happens. Like when we saw Purgles on in The
And
Mandalorian,
I texted
that
you at
was
like
like the
3 in
kind
the
of thing where we're
morning.
like Purgles, 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 like that type of thing. But like
Yeah.
we have not really debriefed on Acolyte, and so Like,
Because
yeah,
at that point we didn't know what we were gonna see in Ahsoka, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
Purgles exist.
Yep.
Where's Hera? Where's Ezra?
Mhm.
What does this
We found them
particular
all.
door open to?
Yeah.
Got them all. So that made us happy. But yeah,
Dave, I love your question up in here. Is
oh, go
Yoda
ahead.
the new smoking man? Look, I was not a huge X Files fan. Like, I liked it. It's not my go-to.
I saw
But I
one
think
episode, and it was one of the worst episodes you can watch in this series. And I'm like,
it's a long
my,
show. There are going to be bad episodes, right?
no, it was like scary bad. Like, what the hell just
Mhm.
happened? Kind of bad. And 10-year-old me, 11-year-old me was like, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not for everyone. I'm giving Yoda a lot of shit for, like, I think he's a universally beloved sort of figure. He's not for
Right.
me. But I also don't think we needed him in the show, and I think that's the one thing that I wish we could fully pull away from. Remember how I said at the top of the show this was almost completely not connected to the
Right.
Skywalkers?
But Yoda is also High Republic
Yeah, but
because he's old.
there's no need to see Yoda. There was
There
no
isn't.
need to see
Yeah.
Kiadi-Mundi. All it did was enrage people for no reason. Like, there was no reason to see
Girl.
Darth Plagueis. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing with Darth Plagueis, like, peeking out of a
I
cave? There
saw
was
the
no point.
spindly
Because
figures, and I'm
now,
like, oh no. Oh no. Are they really?
well,
Oh, they did. They went there.
mhm,
Why? Why?
and
And they never
fine.
explained
Like,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Ever.
No, and that's the other thing. It's like here he was like shoehorned in for no reason.
Right.
And like, look, maybe there's a reason if there was a season 2, but also like give him his own story. And actually, this is my big gripe with the show. There were two things for me that didn't work. I don't think the twin thing worked. And I said last time when
Yeah.
we were on air that I think they were pushing the twin thing to explain the dyad and the force, which I don't give a shit about because episode 9 is never going to be explained to anyone's satisfaction. Just abandon ship. Like, I don't need it, right? And then I think the other thing that didn't work, as much as I love Manny Jacinto and I thought he was the best part of the show,
Yeah.
it's still not clear to me. And I watched it again. Did I miss something? Did I watch an explainer? Did I miss this? What the hell is his connection to the witches? And how did he find the girls? Like, it doesn't occur to me how he is part of the conflict where all the witches are killed by the Jedi. Like, is he just an opportunist that swooped in? Like, it doesn't make sense to me how he's
Yeah.
connected to all of this.
We need
And,
that
like, maybe he's
clarified.
not. Like, but if he's not, like, it just seems too random. And these stories are two different stories then.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Definitely
And
tough.
maybe this is where, like, needing a multi-season show as opposed to this being a miniseries. In my mind, it really needed to wrap up everything in season 1 because this show's not getting renewed. Can we talk stats for a second and then we'll come back to the subjective stuff? I want to talk objective things.
Yeah.
The Rotten Tomato score on this show is like few things I've seen in a long time, and it is truly proof of review bombing. The critic score is an 80%, which I think is perfectly reasonable for this show. I would
Absolutely.
probably
Yeah.
score it a little bit lower, but like I think that's fine. 80% is off. If you go my feeling on Rotten Tomato, if you would say +5 or -5, I think you're good, right? I think a lot of people think this is an A- show or a B- show, and that's a B. So critics got it
I
right.
give it a B. Yep.
The audience score. Does anyone want to take a guess what the audience score before I say it
I'm
out
gonna
loud?
say in the 30s.
Go lower.
Oh, 20s?
Still lower.
Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry guys.
And yeah, I thought it was a misprint. It is
14?
a 17%. 17%.
Holy crap. I'm looking at Jeff's fingers here behind the scene. He's like,
Yeah.
damn.
17% audience score. Purely
Which is
review bombing. There's no way
absolutely. Oh
that
my
83%
God.
of people who watched this show hated this show and gave it a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, that doesn't make any kind of sense. Like,
The loud minority. Yeah.
yeah,
Jesus.
exactly. So I don't understand how you get to that kind of thing. Now, I think outside of Rotten Tomato, because we need multiple aggregators, let's talk IMDb, also a source of review bombing. Episode 1 is at a 5.3. This is out of 10. So out of 10, the scale. Episode 1, 5.3. Episode 2, 5.1. Episode 3, 3.6. And I will say, the trajectory up and down makes sense in my mind because I thought episode 3 was the weakest episode, but it's not 3.6. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
definitely not.
Episode 4, 4.8. Episode 5, Night, which everyone thinks is like universally beloved, 6.5. 6.5. It can't even crack a 7. Episode 6, which is Teach Corrupt, is a 5.0. Episode 7, Choice, is a 4.5. And then the finale, titled The Acolyte, episode 8, 5.2. That basically rounds to a 5 out of 10, like beyond a failing grade. Like you'd have to
Yeah,
repeat the grade. Like if you
you'd have
got
to
this on,
retake that test.
yeah,
Yeah,
you'd fail
that's
this
bad.
class. That's
That's real
insane.
bad.
Like it's not, that show does not deserve this scoring.
No, it does
So
not. And that's why I don't like the fact that it relies like they do have like obviously reviews from like professional reviewers and things like that. But
mhm,
when you have these fanboys so desperate to like, oh, they're like lesbian witches and things. Yeah,
mhm,
exactly, John. People were review bombing anything named Acolyte, even when it had no connection to Star Wars.
yep,
That is
it was
some
insane.
insane like how little like how pathetic, how little life you must have to just sit at a computer and hate something that you don't even know so
Mhm.
much because it doesn't fit your vision of Star Wars.
It's really embarrassing, and
It's
it's the
so
kind of thing
embarrassing.
where I have held back on
Yeah.
me telling people that I'm a Star Wars fan because I'm embarrassed of our fandom. Not our group. The VCN is great, but I will maybe when I talk about what a nerd I am, I throw in a mix of stuff because people hate Star Wars fans. People who are not Star Wars fans know that the Star
Yeah.
Wars fandom is garbage,
Or
and it
even the saddest part of it is when we're actual fans and we hate the fandom menace as it's
yeah.
called.
Yeah,
It's
look, Star Wars Theory and everyone else right now who is pumping out just nothing but like hate content. And what's
honestly.
interesting is like some of those channels started in like a relatively legitimate space. I remember
Yeah.
when there was all the controversy with Rebel Force Radio, however many years ago, and they took like a weird misogynistic turn around Last Jedi.
Mm.
There's always like a triggering incident. Um, but like the fandom's been really bad since Force Awakens, and I read something somewhere. It might have been on Threads. I'm trying to remember the exact place, but basically, we now have had 10 years of canon that the loudest, angriest, oldest fans in the fandom have said don't matter to them. And so now, if they're watching something, they're actually like not the experts in things anymore. And so they'll complain about things like they said something in the Acolyte about how the lightsaber shouldn't change color or whatever. And they're like, well, bleeding lightsabers has been a thing in the comics since like 2015 or something. You just
Yeah.
haven't kept up because you're mad that we're not making the EU.
Big mad.
And
Yeah.
so, like, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, they're not even like accurate anymore. They're just angry.
And I
So
think
that's the
this
thing.
is if it was before The Force Awakens, it wasn't really like popular to come out with like a show like this and to talk
Hmm.
about what we loved and what we hated about Star Wars. It it kind of really took off after COVID and during COVID um, to just have this platform to talk about what we love and what we hate, and not really what we hate, but what we dislike and what rubbed us the wrong way. But it's our opinion. We're not like basing the entire property on this one thought.
Yeah.
And we can separate that. I feel like so many others don't.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is like we've heard it said like a million times. Star Wars is like a buffet. You don't
Hmm.
like everything that's laid out at the buffet. You pick and choose
Yeah,
what
you
you
skip
like,
it.
and you
Look,
just
you know
go
what's
with what
coming
you love.
next? You know what's coming next? A kid show, an Amblin style kid show like Goonies. So prepare yourself that like it's probably not going to be for any of us. Um,
I'm I'm
so
also getting really excited because gonna watch this with my niece for the new Young Jedi Adventures next month. Like that's a kid show. That's a legit kid show, but it's cute and it's so much
yeah,
fun.
it
And
is really cute. Oh, my nieces love it.
yeah,
Scooby has the right
okay,
idea over here that
yeah,
like um we can talk about the things we like, the things we don't like. We can be critical and understanding that like my criticism is not because there are women on screen, there are people of color on screen, there are women of color on screen, or that I didn't see myself as a white guy in the show enough.
exactly.
It's the kind of thing that makes me crazy. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
have actual problems with the show that doesn't work, but like there are people who are running whole YouTube channels annoyed that like someone saw the poster and was like, there's not one white guy on this poster. And I was like, go look at the other 17 posters that were out prior. Like Rogue One is a women's movie when
Yeah.
Felicity Jones is one, has less screen time than Diego Luna, and two, is the only woman in the whole movie. Like it's the kind of thing where like, look at all this feminism power. And I was like, it's just her. Like they cast 12 men and her. And like people thought it was like, you know, but they put her at the top of the poster. So
The three women we see, actually no, four women, because you think of the council, is like Mon Mothma, Lyra Urso, Jyn Urso, and well, you see
yeah,
Leia for a split
name
second.
the senator wearing the gold. Like
She
you
was
barely
in
remember her
Dune.
name.
She was in
Yeah.
Dune, but yeah,
Yes, after the fact. But
after the
like,
fact.
right? I mean, we were like, we're trying to find scraps to like pull. I mean,
Exactly.
Carrie was the one woman in all of Star Wars for 40 fucking years. So, or 20 years anyway. So I think like it's disappointing that the fandom hasn't matured and evolved with this, and instead like because of all this distraction of like we don't want a Star Wars show that have women or non-white people or this or that, we can't get into what I think actually worked and then what didn't work in the
Yeah.
series. Like I think there were things in here that didn't work that Disney needs to like reevaluate, and come back with the next show having learned those lessons of like what works and what doesn't work. But instead we're going to get caught in the trap of like people are just screaming about like looking at this poster being like, I don't
Oh,
see
it's
any
too
white men
woke.
on there. Yeah, it's woke.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that has nothing to do with it. I didn't think the twin thing worked. And I'm tired of hearing about the dyad and the force. I'm tired of why Palpatine returned. You can abandon all things about cloning and dyad and anything because I don't care how episode 9 was
Yeah.
explained because I
We
didn't like
just
episode 9
no.
and a lot of other people
Yeah.
didn't either. And I think it's fine to like just leave that. Just abandon ship on that and
Stop
get
trying
back
to
to
make
like,
episode 9 make sense. If you
yeah,
have to
exactly.
retcon or like go back into everything new just to make that make sense, just set it
Yeah.
at an earlier time.
There's no point.
Just let it
Yeah.
go.
I'd rather
Keep
and
moving ahead.
the other thing that I found frustrating is that as we were pitched this show about the Acolyte, and saying that, we're going way back in time to the High Republic, why didn't they pick a time when there were hundreds of Jedi and hundreds of Sith? Like, why is there always like one looming bad guy? Like,
Yeah.
in Rebels, when we get to Malachor and there's that graveyard basically of all the dead Force users on both sides in this giant fight, that's what I wanna see. Like, how did we get to that point? Like, it's in the books. Why can't we film this? Why is there one villain? Like, that's the kind of thing that makes me crazy. Like, every movie we've done, there's been one villain.
Because
Um,
again, it's not a movie, it's a condensed limited series with like roughly 30-minute episodes if you want to do like a general like, you know,
there's
tally
time
of it.
for but there's
I
time for
know.
factions. Like, the
Yeah.
witches were a thing, which, by the way, I actually really like the witches. I thought they were interesting. I like different
Yeah.
interpretations of the Force and the way they called the Force the thread. Like, everyone has their own language for it. Like,
It
I
was a
thought that
more naturalistic approach, and that's what we
yeah.
appreciated.
It's the different religions across different planets and worlds. It's the same thing, right? Like you're all going
Different
to try to
names for different
interpret like the things
religions.
that
Yeah.
happen in your universe differently. So that all made a lot of sense to me. And then of course there was a headline being like Disney renames the Force to the thread. I was like, no,
Oh
these
my god.
particular characters, media literacy people, these particular characters in the show call it that. They like Disney has
They
not
don't
renamed the
care.
Force.
They want those clicks. They want to get people riled
Yeah.
up so people keep coming back to their show and be like, "Yeah, they agree with me. I
Mhm.
like these people," and then just keep coming back and they
Yep.
get their views. So
Jeff,
whether they stand by it or not, it's
I'm
crazy.
gonna put your comment up, Jeff, about the 8 episodes and 45 minutes. What I would really love to see, and it's happening to me right now because I'm doing not a Buffy rewatch, but I'm doing a Buffy recap thing. I'm going through this like old playlist of Buffy episodes. There used to be a
Right.
time when I could have 22 episodes of hour-long episodes in a season, and they'd
Yeah.
be back to back. It would happen in 1997, 1998, 1999. It would keep going. There were 7 years where Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on air. 7 years, and I got 22 episodes a season, and each episode was an hour for
Yeah.
7 years.
Or at
Now
least
we've
40 minutes,
yeah, well, yeah,
45.
without commercials, 40 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so but now I get 40-minute episodes, 8 episodes every 3 years or something. Who built this model? Who decided this is the way we're going to consume media? We talked about this with Stranger Things. Like, that show started 10 years ago, and those kids haven't made it out of season 5 yet. Like, this is embarrassing.
It is. I get it. You want to have like bigger productions and grander scales, and every episode's a movie. That's what everybody seems to be striving for nowadays.
Hmm.
But it's exhausting. Just make a television show with a coherent plot and just
Hmm.
go with it.
And I'm losing interest in shows that are going to take 2 to 3 years to come back. Like, if you had me in this year, it doesn't mean I'm coming back in 2 years because I probably forgot what we were talking about. And I've moved on to the next thing. Like, this model
Yeah.
isn't working. Streaming has messed up everything. They've
I
like
feel
destroyed
like I've
movie
had to do that with
theaters. Yeah.
Stranger Things so many times because I don't
Yeah.
remember what happened last season. There's bits and pieces of it that I thought were really cool. But
Yeah.
who
I'm gonna have to
knows?
rewatch it. Yeah. Yeah. The gaps. Look, COVID didn't help, obviously.
No,
Um, but I don't like this model where we're getting 8 episodes every 3 years. Like, it's really
it's
um
crazy.
it's sort of infuriating. I am ready for Star Wars to be back in theaters, so I'm very excited that we have The Mandalorian and Grogu confirmed for May 2026. And my understanding is that filming is underway. I know we're all going to be out in California on the family vacation while the movie is filming in LA, which is kind of amazing. Like, I look, I don't know where the filming locations are. I know there's studios and stuff, but it's really happening. So very excited to get back to a movie theater, and it's on the calendar, and we're a year and a half out basically from that. So that's good news. The next show is supposed to be Skeleton Crew. My understanding is it's not happening until Q4, probably closer to like Christmas. But between now and then, we'll have Agatha. So I'm very excited about Agatha.
Oh, Agatha looks wicked. There's so many scary stuff on that. I'm probably gonna have to end up watching it in the
Yeah,
daytime. But yeah, I'm really excited for her. I think Catherine Hahn stole the show with uh, you know,
yeah. She was
WandaVision
by far
and
the breakout of WandaVision.
yeah.
Yeah. My understanding too, the way if so for anyone in the comments, if you've seen WandaVision, that show was like 8 episodes or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
Wanda and Vision lived through sitcom styles of the various decades. So it started in the 50s in like a black and white, into the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and aughts and 2010s is how it ended. And so they covered all the different tropes of sitcoms and spoofed a lot of different series, including Bewitched,
Mary Tyler
and
Moore,
yeah, oh, yeah,
um,
Mary Tyler Moore,
Dick Van Dyke
Bewitched,
Show.
Growing Pains, and Full House, Modern Family, like all the core sitcoms of the day was sort of being referenced in each episode, and each one was set up with sort of a sitcom kind of structure. My understanding, and this is not confirmed, I heard this is a rumor, but again, I'm actually not a licensee for this, so I have no clue, is that WandaVision is a send up of horror movies. So they showed a little bit in the trailer where like she's doing this sort of crab walk from The Exorcist, and then there's like a whole fairy tale thing that happens where they're going down
Oh,
the road.
Agatha. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Did I
WandaVision.
say what did I say? Agatha is a
You
send
said
up of
WandaVision, but I
oh,
was like
sorry. Agatha's
I was like, well,
a
it
send
kind
up
of
of
was for
horror
some
movies.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks fucking terrifying. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna lie. I was just like, the best part was Aubrey Plaza's character just being like, "Oh, oh, there she goes.
There
What's
she
she doing?"
goes. Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh my god, yeah, exactly, John." I
Yeah.
was like,
She's
"She's
gonna
wild."
be, I think, the breakout of this. Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing: you also are in a show with Patty LuPone. This, by the way, this seems to be like the gayest thing that's ever happened on Disney Plus. Like, we've got Aubrey Plaza, we've got Patty LuPone, Catherine Hahn. These are, I think I've mentioned this. But have you ever seen that meme where it's like, my son can't be gay. He loves women, and then they show the women, and it's women like Patty LuPone and like Catherine Hahn, and it's like that kind of thing. That's like clearly these are gay icons over here. And then the
Oh
guy
yeah.
who's playing Billy, in theory, it's Billy. We're not 100% sure, but it should be Wanda's son, Billy, who's Wiccan in the comics and everything.
I like how
So
he's like,
it's all these like fabulous women and then this like gay teenager. So it's going to be really, really, he's got painted nails. It's going to be super gay, you
it's gonna
guys. So
be
I'm very excited
so
about that.
great. I love it. And yeah, and they're gonna have Deborah Jo Rupp back from
Yeah,
that 70 show and from WandaVision. We see her just trying to have someone save her husband who's choking in the 50s episode, and
that was
it's like,
amazing.
that was so
Stop.
crazy. Stop it.
Stop.
Stop it.
It.
And she's
What an
just getting more and
amazing
more different.
show.
Oh, so good.
We'll have to do I wish we, here's the thing. I would do a WandaVision recap, like this kind of thing, discussion leading up to Agatha, and do an Agatha show if our network was not just Star Wars, but like
Yeah.
every YouTuber is ready for this. We would be, we would not be a destination because there are other people who know the comics super well inside
Yeah.
out. I would say follow Ryan Airy, follow new rock stars, find
Yeah.
those
Screen
people.
Crush.
Support the people who know what they're talking about in this regard. I enjoy that stuff, but I am not
Yeah.
an expert, and I would never
No.
claim to be. Um, yeah, I
I
get my
have
expertise straight
limited
from
knowledge
Ryan.
because I was working in a comic shop during that time, so I was kind of like flipping through Young Avengers when I could. But
Mm,
there's
it's a
still
good
like a
book.
lot I'm kind of murky on, so it's good
Yeah,
to know. But yeah,
but
House of
Star
M,
Wars is House of M is probably the best. My favorite X
probably.
Men.
Yeah.
Do
X-Men
we
versus
think?
Avengers was a thing. That was a
Well,
big
that's
thing.
good.
So
Do we think? And this would have to be like 10 years from now. You could ever get to an X Men movie that's in House of M? Like I think X Men '97 will get to it first.
yeah, Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Anthony,
think
I'm with you. Catherine Hahn. So I literally watched Bad Moms and Bad Moms Christmas because I like Catherine Hahn that much. That movie is
oh
not only not made for me. They're all bad. They're bad movies. Like let's be clear.
yeah.
But if you are a middle-aged white lady with nothing but time on your hands and you want to see some women behaving badly, it's actually really fun. And it's harmless fun. But Catherine Hahn is by far the best part of those movies.
So good in
And
Parks and
yeah.
Recreation. So to have her
Oh
go
yeah.
back, team up with Aubrey Plaza again, um,
Hmm.
she's so obnoxious in Parks and Recreation, but her character is just like
When she
she's one you
wears the
love to hate.
smock to visit them because the whole house is sticky.
Yeah,
Yeah, I reference that all the time when I go to visit my sister. I was just there this weekend, and I was like, I can't. They have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. I totally get it.
wear the
Um,
smock. Wear the smock.
yeah, Troy, I think you're right that X-Men '97 is going to be where the
Yeah,
action is. I think they would get to House of M before a movie would. But I'm curious to see what the X-Men are going to be. I mean, we obviously.
yeah.
Oh, Deadpool Wolverine is happening this Thursday. Who
Tonight
is
is the
going on
premiere in New York
Thursday?
City.
Yep.
I am. Yeah. Tonight's the premiere in New York City. My friend Brandon is there. He got to have a photo with both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and it is lovely. So shout out
Right.
to Brandon. Way to go, buddy.
Is that Brandon from comic book? What am I talking about?
He's Chief Geek Photography on Instagram. So
Okay.
check him out. His stuff is
Mhm.
amazing. He's a brilliant photographer as
Oh,
well.
excellent.
Um, but yeah, he dressed up
I'm
as a Wolverine to the
Oh,
show. So
cute. I love that. I'm so excited to go because I'm going Thursday, and then of course Sunday at the Chinese with everyone. Sarah, I'm going to sit right next to you, and Sarah and Sherry. We are going to have to do a Bad
double
Moms debrief.
trouble.
So look at this, 2 in a row over here. Um, oh my God! And the stripper that Catherine Hahn hooks up with is like the hot guy from This Is Us, right?
Yeah,
The
Justin
blonde.
Hartley.
That's the one. Yeah, I don't know any
Yeah,
of these. These the
I
disposable hot
forgot he
men.
was
There's
in
too
it.
many of them now. I don't know.
Disposable hot
Um,
men. Oh my gosh.
that's I mean that's the character he plays, right? He's like a stripping Santa. And then he goes for like and I guess Catherine Hahn's character plays someone who works in not a nail salon, but like where you get like hair removal and stuff like that. I don't know what any of those
Electrolysis.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he goes to get hair removal, and it's hysterical, of course. So, but yeah, their chemistry on screen is actually like one of the best parts of the whole movie. But yeah, Bad Moms is nuts. Like I don't, and whoever decided that they were going to edit like these like the opposite of slow motion, but these like fast motion like party scenes where these women are like chugging beers and causing chaos and stealing Christmas trees from the Foot Locker. Yeah, disposable hot men. There we go, Sarah. That's what we're looking for in California. This is the point of this vacation. I'm gonna get shirt. That's our next shirt. Disposable hot men. We'll put Manny Jacinto on there. Yeah, we'll get all the guys.
Troy wants to know if Sunday at the Chinese is sold out.
Do we have tickets? Is there a separate? I don't think there's anyone holding extra tickets, Sherry. So if you didn't buy your ticket, but
Oh, it's
check
Troy.
with maybe
Spencer
Spencer.
bought
Check.
a block of them, sort of, but I believe that you could still go to the website and get a ticket or go to the box office. But of course, that's cutting it close. I'll
Mhm.
take a look.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. I do have to. Everyone heard me before we were live when we were doing our little pre-call. I was like, Jason, I have to buy my train ticket to LA. The last thing I haven't done. all weekend, I'm just, you're on your phone all day, and then it's like, oh, I didn't like click the buttons I needed to click. So I
Because you
still don't have a
forgot
train
there's so
ticket
much going
from.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started packing, and I'm like looking at my list of tasks, and I fully forgot about that. That would have been me like at the train with no ticket, like just trying to like, you know, point me north. But it'll be fine. I can't imagine it's going to sell out, and there'll be multiple trains.
Now,
Um,
getting back to the Acolyte,
yes, swinging
I
back to
have
Star Wars.
I have a question. Um, were you expecting? Oh, did you feel like May's heart wasn't fully in and into becoming the Acolyte and going full Sith? And did it surprise you when Osha became the one to be pushed there?
It's hard to answer that without being rude, because what I want to say is I didn't care what happened to either of those characters, like fully. Having gone through the show, I felt they were the weakest part of it. I like, you know what I mean? Like, I was most interested in what was going to happen to the Jedi who messed things up. Like, they all deserve their consequences of some type. And I was engrossed by Master Soul, and I loved Manny Jacinto. And as much as I love Amandla, and I'm separating character from actress, I didn't care about those girls, like, kind of at all. And that's sad, right? Because they're sort of the leads. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look at the poster that we have behind us. She's the big part of the poster, and everyone else is like little people on the posters.
Tiny people.
Um,
Yeah.
Part of it too is that like the little girls who portrayed her character, I don't think really delivered for me on the relationship that well. And because you don't have a lot of Amandla herself like together on screen as two characters, you sort of miss that connection. So like their fight to me was kind of like meh. Like what I really wanted was like the showdown of the Jedi versus the dark side, not what's the plan for these two girls and where they were going off to next.
Yeah. Troy said when Mail bailed on the mission, I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I feel like the way her kills were, obviously she couldn't kill Kelnaka because he was already dead, and she got there, and Torben just offed himself. She gave him the opportunity, and he just was like, okay. And Dara, she died because she was distracted saving someone else. So
Mhm. Stupid
May got
Jedi.
really lucky in that regard.
Yeah. But
Um,
also, hubris. I mean, look, Carrie Ann
Yeah.
Moss, by the way, big miss with Carrie Ann Moss, like not being all over the show. She should have been one of the leads. It was actually like
I
quite
know.
disappointing. The hubris to like not subdue that person immediately, stop being defensive, and take down this bitch. Like it should have been not even a 30-second fight. It should have been a 5-second her disarming her, or maybe even chopping off her arm. Like, what are we doing here? Like, all you did was end up getting yourself killed.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah,
was really disappointing in that regard. And even though everyone said it was going to happen, I just didn't want to believe it.
yeah.
But it did.
No,
So
I knew. I was as soon as the opening fight started, I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, what a waste of casting Carrie Ann Moss for one fight scene. And her flashback wasn't great either. I will say what I enjoyed about it though is that how no one listened to her. I was like, these Jedi are a hot mess. Like Carrie
hot
Ann Moss is in
mess.
charge, and her Padawan is useless and worthless. And then Soul is off doing his own thing, not listening to her. No one's paying attention. They didn't feel like a team. Like they were like like the four of them were like a bad match. Like, and I don't know why they weren't listening to Carrie Ann Moss. Like, it made me crazy because like that wouldn't have happened in like with Mace Windu or Yoda or whatever. But like they were all way too comfortable, and it was disappointing. Again, this goes back to my thing though about like I actually wanted to see the Jedi at the height of their powers, and again, this was at the point where they were starting to fall. And we didn't get to see that because we got a bunch of inept Jedi who made terrible decisions, and they didn't fight an army of dark side users.
Yeah.
They made their own damn mess, and then some other dark side user like parachutes in out of nowhere to maybe capitalize on the mistake. Like that's not the show I wanted.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I think that was a miscast. There was one up here.
Indara.
I
Yeah.
can't see it. Where are you?
Hi.
I'm running with the
Hicks is
cat.
needing extra petting over here.
Oh, so good too. Right on time. Sarah says, I thought the Sith was after Osha all along, but I didn't expect her to jump for it. Yeah, I think as soon as Chimere saw her, I think
Hmm.
that's where the game changed.
Yeah, but
Because
do we care? Like that's I hate to be rude about it. I keep saying that because I really don't mean to be. But and
yeah,
again, I liked this show overall.
yeah.
I
Did
think
they need a twin? No, they didn't. If
did
they
they
just
need
did
anyone? Manny
it,
Jacinto seems really capable of killing whoever he wants. Like what are we doing here? I don't understand. And
you
what's
can
and what
kill me too. It's fine. That's what
and
Mark is
what
saying
is
right now.
no, but
Um,
like, and what's Darth Plagueis's plan here? Like, I
yeah,
guess I guess if you really, and here's the thing, this is where you actually need to know stuff. If you know that's Darth Plagueis, and if you know that Darth Plagueis, in theory, created Anakin Skywalker out of nothing, and if you know that Palpatine knows that Darth Plagueis can create life, and that he tried that in Episode 9 with the dyad and the Force bullshit, right? Like, if you know all of that and can piece these breadcrumbs together, you might know then that Darth Plagueis was interested in the girls that were created by these witches because of that very thing, the
yes,
virgins in the forest or whatever.
the virgin.
That's a lot. Like I had to
Yeah,
write that down for it to make sense the first time I came to that conclusion.
yeah.
That's not good storytelling, and
No,
it's relying on people who know Star Wars inside and out, like us and every
again,
person in this
it's
chat.
relying on the Skywalker saga to
Yes,
bring something new to life,
and
and then
Palpatine.
yeah,
And
stop with the Palpatine already.
yeah,
Like it's just so
Yoda and
annoying.
Yoda and Darth Plagueis are intimately connected to Palpatine, and I'm so sick of Palpatine. I really am. I love Ian
Yeah,
McDermott. Sick of Palpatine. Yeah.
yeah. I don't like
The
that they.
handsome menace. Oh my God, Anthony, we got to put this comment on the screen.
Yes, we do.
The handsome menace. It definitely one. Someone needs to start that Twitter account like tomorrow, and we need to start tweeting just nothing but like Manny Jacinto workout videos. I'd follow that account, the handsome menace. Um,
I
oh
think you
God,
already
every
do.
douchey guy is going to use that too. Yeah.
The handsome menace. I'm dead. Um, Troy says, so how do we know the Jedi know how to check on stuff to find a pseudo Sith? Virgins is a good excuse, but we need to have characters to care about.
Mm.
Exactly.
I will say the individual characters I liked a few. I really liked our Wookiee. I thought Jonas was great, and that fight choreography. Whoever wanted to
Oh,
see a Wookiee throw down, ho ho, oh man, I thought that
it
fight
is.
was one of the best in the whole series.
It is
Like
a
not just within
big.
Acolyte, but like all of Star Wars.
Yeah, it is a big, big no-no for Wookiees to use their claws like he did, which is
Yeah, he like,
probably and
yeah,
we don't see, Chewbacca ever do that. So this
nope,
was like a first for everybody.
I loved
And
it.
it's probably why Kalnaka went into an exile because that's considered shameful among the Wookiees. And
But you know
no
what?
one
Can someone say that out loud so I don't have to look that shit up on Wikipedia?
yeah.
Like, that's the kind of thing. They all felt shame. Carrie Ann Moss was ashamed because she
Same.
like made bad decisions. The Wookiee used his claws. The other kid like literally
It
killed
should have
himself.
been
He was so
called Guilt
ashamed.
Trip. Never
Yeah,
mind
but like
Road Trip. It should have been
we
called
can
Guilt Trip, the
we
saga.
can verbalize these things to
Yes.
make it more clear to average users, and I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that was missing.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have known about the claw thing until Alex from Star Wars Explained told me so,
Oh,
that I
really?
shouldn't have to rely on an explainer video. Like, and I kn and look, I'm deep in the fandom. I'm literally on YouTube right now recording a show about Star Wars, right? Like, this is as deep as it gets. Like,
Yeah,
there are
seriously.
so many people who would not have known that, and it didn't mean anything to them. And that's the problem with Star Wars, and it makes me
Yeah.
so angry because I
We
think it's
don't have
such
to
a
hold
great
our hand and
franchise.
explain it every step of the way, but just kind of give us some like little handholds in the cliff here
Yeah, little
to
things.
just figure it out.
It would have been so easy to be like, "Oh, yeah, after he used his claws, they're not supposed to do that." And then someone would be like, "What are you talking about?" And then you explain it to Jackie, who wouldn't have known. We have so many audience surrogates in this show in various
Yeah,
ways.
so
Like, there's
many.
exposition potential in every different area, like from
Just as
Osho or
okay.
May to Jackie. Like, we have new Padawan. Like, it's totally fine. I will say, along with the Wookiee fight, I thought Manny Jacinto's fight with everyone, whether it was Jackie or not Bored. What's his name? The
Yord.
Yord. Yeah, Yord.
Gord.
Um, yeah, all of them, terrific. The fight choreography in the show and that final fight, especially, they keep coming
Oh.
back to that one cut. The girls kick, and then the lightsabers clash in the edit. And I made my Futurama joke that I make all the time and feel very proud of myself. That perfectly symmetrical violence never solved anything.
No.
But like it is one of the all-time greats Futurama lines, but
Yes,
it was
it is.
perfect.
It
And
was
I
so
loved
perfect.
every minute of that fight on both ends. And like I was actually invested in the fight. So I thought all the fight choreography was terrific. And I actually think the opening fight with Carrie Ann Moss was also one of the best in all of Star Wars.
Yeah,
Like I'm not
Sarah
exaggerating. Yeah.
knocked it out. Knocked it out of the park, girl. I didn't need you to tell me it was Coruscant, but I could have used help with the Wookiees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And look, I think there's a lot of things in the show that works. The setting was great. I thought the cinematography was gorgeous. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like we were ever in the volume. Everything felt really real. The fights were great. The choreography was great. All the actors really delivered. Manny Jacinto is a
Yeah.
star, and someone needs to put him in a project like tomorrow.
I
Like he
like that
needs to
he's
be
pushing
name
for
above the
more.
title. You
Yeah.
know,
He's pushing for more Filipino-based projects, and that's awesome. This should be him literally kicking down the door for that
yeah.
to happen
I
because he stole the
I
show.
want to see him in rom-coms. Why is he not where Glenn Powell is? Like, why is Glenn Powell everywhere right now, by the way? And by
I
the way,
know.
Twisters is a giant hit, and I get it. Like, he's a good-looking, but a good-looking guy, but also like he's very vanilla. He's probably the definition of vanilla.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
I could have cared less about him. Like I saw Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah,
obviously.
he's fine in that movie.
He's
And
just
weirdly
okay.
enough, Manny Jacinto said all his lines were cut from Top Gun Maverick. So Manny Jacinto was in Top Gun Maverick for like a hot second, and his entire character arc was taken out because
Just
it focused
saying.
on Glenn Powell, which of course makes sense. He's the lead, but there's also some other people. But yeah, I mean, look, there's no denying Troy that Glenn Powell is super good looking, right? He is like a supermodel, like, but he's also very, very, very vanilla, and I've seen him before. Um, and I think that he's like okay, he's fine. Um, like I'd be way more interested in seeing Manny Jacinto in Twisters, or Manny Jacinto in a shitty rom com, that you go on for date night with your girlfriend because you're dragged. Like I think that's where I want him everywhere at this point. And I think after watching The Good Place, I think a lot of people would have said that 5 years ago when that show was on. Like, why isn't he a bigger star? And now you put him in something like this, and damn, like he's got range. And I think
Yeah.
he's the breakout from this. Like the guy who played Soul was excellent as well, but like this should be the springboard for Manny Jacinto to like take over the planet.
It's true. It
Yeah.
should have kicked open that door. Jawline on the Powell kid. Yeah, Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, John is absolutely right. That's the next point I want to bring up. It is the first time we see a kyber crystal being bled.
Yeah.
We hear about it in the Ahsoka books, how she turns the Inquisitor's kyber crystals to white and ends up with her white
The
sabers.
cleansing.
The cleansing of the crystals, and we see the reverse happen here with Osha, and it was jarring because like she's literally killing Soul as she's bleeding this crystal, and I was shook. I was
Hmm.
honestly shook. Like I'm gonna talk about that. It was I was shook in a good way. Like not like it was, oh, this is terrible. Like this was really like, oh wow, this is going dark. This girl is dark right now. And she was doing what May couldn't. She was killing a Jedi without a weapon. She had so much rage and so much anger in her that she was just literally taking the light side of the Force from the Kyber crystal and turning it
Yeah.
to the dark side. It was
Now,
insane.
the only gripe I have with that is if you read the Vader comic where they talk about what it's like to actually bleed a crystal, I thought it was much more complicated than that. And like you can't just do it
Yeah.
immediately, and there's like a little bit of a ritual to it. But maybe in theory, in the time of the High Republic and the hate is flowing through you that much, and you're sort of a creation of the Force and you're more than human, like that
Right.
seems really feasible. And also I
Absolutely.
don't
Yeah.
get caught up in the minutia of like it said this in the comics and they did it differently on TV. That doesn't bother me that much. I thought it was cool. And that's sort of what matters more than anything. And did it progress the story? Yes. Did it look cool? Yes. Is it something that I knew the fans were going to be pissed about? Also, yes. Like, so we're sort of checking a lot of boxes on that one. But I thought
But I
that was
feel like
neat to
anything
see.
could have happened at that point. Like she could have
Yeah.
taken Chimere's, or I'm gonna call him Chimere. And that may not
Yeah.
be his real name, but I'm just gonna call him that because that's the name he had for a hot second. She could have taken Chimere's extra lightsaber half piece. That was pretty wild. I like how that's
Yeah.
arranged.
The dagger kind of
Yeah,
thing.
the
Yeah.
little dagger, hidden dagger in his lightsaber.
Yeah.
She could
That
have
was
taken
very
that.
cool. cool
and done
lightsaber
something with
thing.
it. But
Yeah.
this needed to show that she had a lot of rage. She felt lied to because Soul admitted that he killed her mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she lost her people, and she got most importantly to her, I think she lost time with May. She thought May was dead all these years, and
Yeah.
that rage of being lied to and kept in the dark for something like this, it just fueled her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an extremely powerful moment, and I felt like Soul just like, okay, I'm gonna own up to it. I'm sorry, but I'm owning up to it, and that was the
Yep.
last of
The
it.
apology doesn't undo it. And that's the
No.
thing, is like, so what would be the right penance for that? I mean, I think him dying was the right move. As much as I like him as a character, he made a
Yeah.
lot of bad decisions, and like he was actually acting very emotionally for a Jedi. And I feel like
Yeah.
there's commentary in that where like this is like really is emotions are the downfall of the Jedi. We saw it with Anakin, like he couldn't control his
Yeah.
emotions. He let the fear get away, get like lead him to the dark side, right? He was very afraid
And also
from episode
Qui-Gon.
1 to yeah. Yeah, like I all of them, right? Like anyone who's
Yeah.
really made like a bad decision, there it wasn't that they had emotions, is that they couldn't keep them in check to make them allow them to make a rational decision. And I think that happens throughout this whole series. Is like everyone's like feeling a particular way when if you really think about it rationally, like that a lot of the decision making was just so bad because they were all worried or scared or concerned or angry or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, Dave, on other shows. It would have been more compelling if both twins were in the same body. Like if one blacked out and was the other one, just kind of like
Mm.
a, I don't know,
So
multiple
Fight Club.
personality disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a Fight Club thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that
I
would have been really cool.
I just I don't I struggle with the entire character.
Yeah,
Like and that's the thing. I
I
I
think
don't
it
know
could have been
why
more
it couldn't have
crazy.
just been Manny Jacinto going around killing people. And then at some point when Vanestra finds out who it is, oh shit, it's her former apprentice. Like that could be your connection. You don't need anything more than that.
Yeah,
Like, I really don't I like that. Like let's trim this show down to the bones. Like you need someone killing Jedi. But again, that's not the show I wanted. I wanted light versus dark, and there was only one bad guy or two, kind of one and a
hiding,
half. There's two bad guys, like at
hiding in the
most, or like
shadows.
really, there's one bad guy. I don't like that. Like we've done that. We did that with the Phantom Menace. This show could have been called the Phantom Menace, as much as we were calling it the Handsome Menace a couple minutes ago. Like it's really true that
Yeah.
there needed to be an army of bad guys.
Oh, okay. Jeff says that they teased the idea of the Blackout
Hmm.
slash Fight Club dual character early on and then dropped it. Why? I would have loved that, but that's my feelings on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's over now, so nothing we can do to affect the current situation. Um, Big question is, will we get a season 2? I don't think we will. I got to be
Yeah.
honest. No, I think that if it's not already in production, they're not greenlighting a show with this kind of Rotten Tomato score. And I got to be honest, like I don't think the ratings are
But
particularly
even if
great
it's
either.
not their fault, like this is, we gotta face it. Every time a new Star Wars property is announced, some person's gonna be sitting behind a keyboard bashing it to shreds before it's even been put on a trailer
Mhm.
yet.
Yeah.
So it's
Dave,
what
I
happens.
want
It
to
has
address your comment. I think you're right. There are a lot of bad guys in the show, and they were Jedi for the most part. I wanted to see an army of dark side users fight an army of light side users,
Yeah.
which feels truly High Republic, or maybe
I thought
Old
that's what we
Republic
were getting.
even.
It looked like it.
Yeah. I know. And that's where, again, it comes down to like what I thought I was promised versus what I was given. And that's that gap seems to be big.
Yeah.
Um, so I like that for me is where we picked the wrong. I thought we were in the correct time period for this, and again, it feels like we're in the prequels, not a totally different time period.
Yeah.
So like, why are the Sith hiding? So, um, Troy, I wouldn't be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
I will say I do think that Disney has gold, like in their pocket right now with Manny Jacinto as this character,
Yeah.
and I think that's if you're gonna do one thing, it's kind of like what Marvel did with WandaVision. They were like, Catherine Hahn is bankable, make a show. Like
Yeah.
if they were smart, Disney would be rejiggering whatever they were thinking and figuring out how do we put Manny Jacinto as this character in something. What are our plans?
It's phenomenal.
Figure out what worked. We know a lot of things. I'm looking at this poster. A lot of things in this poster did not work, and a lot of those people are dead. But we know what worked. Bring the thing that worked and move it forward. You need to be able to pivot while also having like a larger vision that hits everything, right? So, yeah. Meanwhile, looking at the time, I know we're 10 minutes over already, and we do want to end on like a normal note because there's so much programming this week. Oh my God, you guys! Like, there's so much happening on the network. As we already mentioned,
So much.
right before the show aired, we did sort of a recap thing of celebrating autographs. So Dave and Frank sort of recapped all 3 of the episodes that we did of celebrating autographs. Had a couple of new announcements. Make sure you guys go back and watch that. Tomorrow we have a very special presentation from Jeff and the Disney dudes, giving all of their, Disneyland Q&A special facts and like really tips and tricks for all of us who are going to be in Disneyland
And
next
let's
Wednesday.
face it, even if we're not going on the family vacation, these are really valuable tips. So
Yeah.
if you're planning to go to Disneyland in the future, check these guys out
Mhm.
because they know their
Yep.
stuff.
And any type of autographing that you're going to be going to, convention or anything like that, celebrating autographs is terrific for all of that, like
Yes.
preparation work and everything. And then Wednesday, oh boy, Ashley, you get to do this twice in one week. How are you going to
I
handle Wednesday?
know.
Yeah.
Wednesday, like I said, I love the fact that I have Jamie with me on the show. She is one of the biggest High Republic fans, true fan of it that I know. And we're going to be diving back into the Acolyte, and Jamie's going to be giving her thoughts on it because I know,
Mhm.
according to her Instagram, she really loved it. And I want to hear if it worked out the way she hoped and what's in store for our girl
I'm
Vern.
curious. I know. I haven't asked, so I'm going to hear it live on Wednesday with everyone else.
So I'm so excited for this show. So me, Mark, and Jamie will be joining everybody here on the VCN on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Daughters of the Galaxy. We'll discuss it.
And I'm just behind the scenes producing, so I think I'll be able to sit back and just let Jamie and Ashley go crazy. Dave, I'm gonna put your comment on the screen. It's a little out of order, but Unifying Force on Sunday is also doing their Acolyte recap, and from my understanding, Kat doesn't really love the show. So here's the thing. I think on the scale of like who loved it, Jamie, who didn't like it, Kat, I am somewhere in the middle. Closer to Jamie probably, but I'm curious to see what I've read some of the UF chat about what Kat has to say about the show. She may address head on some of the other bigger critiques of the series. Before we get to that though, on Thursday we have a weird one on Thursday. We're watching something not Star Wars, which is pretty rare for the network.
Very rare.
Yeah. We're doing a watch along of Star Trek First Contact with John Goodson, who's of course going to be at one of our upcoming events.
That's
So
exciting.
he worked
in San
extensively on
Francisco.
that. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, he'll be at the San Francisco event. So Jeff, are you going to be on for Star Trek First Contact on Thursday?
Yeah, it'll be me, Spencer, and Skip. I don't go down to San Diego till after work on Friday.
Got it.
Yeah, so we'll be watching First Contact with John Goodson, who's formerly or currently maybe still of ILM. I can't remember if he's. I think he does.
I think he's still there.
Contract work.
Yeah.
But anyways, so he will be talking about the Enterprise because that's what he built.
That's awesome.
So I'm sure he did other things in the
Did we
show
get
as
to do
well. But
that? That's wild.
that's pretty hardcore. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's done multiple versions of Star Trek vehicles, Enterprise specifically.
So technically, we're not hawking the Trek. Technically.
Well, yeah, that's debatable. So, anyways,
Nice. So look, it's a crazy week of programming this week, and as we get ready for the family vacation, obviously many of you guys are going to be with us physically in California, but we are still providing content for the network. So we hope to see you there. Don't forget that Saturday is the meetup at San Diego Comic-Con, the Not So Virtual Cantina meetup, and it'll be at the Omni Hotel, which is right across the street from the convention center. Starting at 8, it goes to 11. I will be there. So come see me and Jeff and Spencer, and man, there's probably going to be like 40 or 50 of us. It's going to be awesome.
Closing the place down.
I
you
know.
Great.
And then Sherry, get your ticket to Deadpool Wolverine at the Chinese on Sunday. That is like the unofficial. It's almost like the Bunta Eve to all the events coming up the
It's the
Sunday night.
kickoff, and Jeff
Yeah,
said
so
there
that's
are tickets still available. So
yeah.
Sunday
Yeah,
at
the
7.
theater is probably close to half full currently, but it's a Sunday evening, 7 p.m. The opening weekend, so that's kind of when people have calmed
It's
down
gonna
in terms
it's
of
gonna
wanting to
sell
see it.
out by the
So
time we
yeah,
get the
it'll
preview
be pretty
viewings and
full by the time the movie starts. Especially, it'll be like a lot of last minutes, I think.
yep. Oh, yay,
Terry
Sherry.
has a ticket.
Sherry's
It
got
was
her ticket.
Troy, I think
Excellent.
that was
Woo!
Troy was
Yep.
mentioning if there was tickets available. So
Yep.
get yours,
Oh.
Troy,
Troy.
come join us.
Go on TCL Chinese Theaters with an S.com, and you can get your ticket right there. Or you could play, close to the vest and try to get it a day of, but I would say get it in advance.
hmm And then, of course, Monday, Tuesday are the autograph signing events. It's coming Villainy and at Biggs. Wednesday is Disneyland Day, but we'll have on the network coverage, right? So even though I will physically be in California, we have a Rebels Revisited episode that Ashley and I are pre-recording. We're doing a Best of Ezra, so join us next week for the Best of Ezra. That'll be airing on Monday night. There's also going to be some type of happy hour, possibly even just like a little Zoom check-in from Real Life Tuesday
Yeah.
from Biggs. So that'll be a good time. Wednesday is the Nerf Herders. Next Wednesday, the Nerf Herders, and then Thursday night it's Ashley and I at the helm. So
Oh,
a
yeah.
week from this Thursday, during the family vacation, I'm back in New York that Thursday, and we will be doing our watch along. And we're announcing our topic right now. Do you want to tell everyone what we're watching?
We are watching a Rebels panel. Very early days of Rebels. Entire cast, Dave Filoni. It's going to be so much fun. We'll be sure to put the link up on the page in the group before we go, so that way you guys can queue it up. And huge kudos to Jeff for finding one without ads.
Oh yeah, the one I
Nobody likes
found.
ads.
I was like, oh yeah, there's an ad like every 10 seconds.
Yeah, there's a
It
way
is
to get around that, so I took the advantage of a little hack that I know. So hopefully that'll make the viewing experience much better for everyone involved.
Yes.
excellent.
Definitely. But it's
We're
such
gonna-
a good panel, so definitely join us for that.
It's like the Rebels panel because it is from Celebration 2015. So right at the beginning, and it's Freddie, Taylor, Tia, Steve, Vanessa, Dave Filoni, and I want to say Henry Gilroy is the other person who's there. I'm
Yes.
blanking now. So
Yeah.
it's and by the way, it's in like a shitty panel room. It's not even like on the main stage. It's in like one of those like, hey,
Big
go
room
on up to
under.
like corridor
ballroom.
7 and one of those little rooms. I guess this was in Anaheim. So Anaheim 2015.
Probably
And
like third floor of the convention
Yeah.
center,
I
where
was
those.
like, what the hell is this? It certainly wasn't the main stage, I'll tell you that. So
Yeah.
it's
But
the
that's
panel.
the beauty of it, because
Yeah.
it's such a small panel room that they go right down to the nitty gritty. So
Yeah.
if you're as huge a Rebels fan as we are, definitely join us for this. The panel is so fun to watch.
Yeah. And by the way, it's gonna be just me and Ashley. So it's us doing Rebel stuff. So we'll be on at 9:30 p.m.
Rebels get a
Eastern
rebel.
on that Thursday, and then we'll start the panel at 10. We'll be off at 11. So yeah, that's our takeover of the VCN watch along. While everyone else is probably in San Francisco at that point, like partying.
Yeah, we'll be at Ireland's 32
Nice.
during your show. So
Excellent.
hanging out
so it'll be a
with
good
John,
time.
who we'll get to hang out this Thursday with in advance. So that'll be cool.
That's rad.
Yeah.
I'm so
So-
excited for you guys. That's cool.
That's what's coming. I'm so excited to see everyone. We're days away from seeing each other in real life, which is always nice. And then, of course, the network will keep you busy all week this week, and then next week with content if you're not able to join us in California. And then, of course, once we're back, we'll do a full recap. So 2 weeks from now on Rebels Revisited, it's like the family vacation recap show. Like,
Yes.
we're going to go through like what we had done during the vacation. We'll be the first show back after the vacation. So I'll give you like a thorough recap of at least my days that I was there. So
Oh,
it'll be
yeah.
a good time.
And we know that everybody will be checking in on the page and talking about it. So yeah, I get to
Mhm.
live vicariously through all of you for this, and I'm so excited for you guys. So I
Yeah,
cannot
there'll
wait.
be a handful of people probably doing lives and posting videos and pictures to the group.
Yeah.
So it
I'll be
should
tethered to my phone.
Okay.
I'm
I just
also
bought a
red
new
carpet.
power brick for mine, so I make sure I have enough power.
Yeah, I bring my extra charger. I'm also the red carpet correspondent. I'm the Ryan Seacrest / Joan
Oh yeah.
Rivers. I was told to be more Ryan than Joan.
What?
So yeah,
Can we
with
talk?
yeah.
Oh, I
Tell me
love
something
your show.
terrible. Yeah,
Tell me something terrible.
yeah. So I will be the Ryan Seacrest, welcoming people in, which will be really fun.
You can be
I'm
the
just so
Anthony
excited about the guest
Carboni.
list. Hmm?
You can be the Anthony Carboni and Andy Gutierrez.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I love them. I miss them actually.
I do.
I'm so
Yeah.
ready for another Star Wars centric event. I know we just had Celebration, and the next one is next year in Japan.
It's
But I'm
gonna
not.
come quick. Yeah.
I'm not going. I keep saying it out loud that I'm not going, and of course that means I'm going to end up going. I
The
said I
universe,
wasn't going to the vacation, and here I go.
the
So
universe says otherwise.
You also said you
yeah,
weren't going to London.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, look, if I
You don't
say
have
it
a
out
good
loud, I can
track
make it
record.
happen. So
Or maybe it
I'm
is
You
a
not
good
will
going to
track
not
record.
win the
Japan.
lottery, Mark.
That's
You
right.
will not
Reverse.
win
It's
the
reverse
lottery.
psychology. That's it.
I'm gonna Uno reverse this shit. But I will be our Ryan Liberty. I will try to not be Joan Rivers. But I am very excited to see all the talent on the way in because we have so many great people signing. So it's gonna be a really good time. All right, I think
Woo.
that's everything for this week.
Yeah.
Make sure you
So
follow
excited.
all. So reminder for everyone: follow all of our social channels because we are going to be updating like mad from the vacation, and that's going to be the best way to keep up with all of us, especially on the Facebook page. Yep, and it's all at Virtual Cantina Network for the most part.
Yes.
Got
It's
everything on here.
variations, but if you search
Yeah.
for Virtual Cantina, you're likely to find us.
Yep.
And also, we got to make
Trademark
sure
and pending.
we talk about.
Yes, Hyperspace Props is our main sponsor for the family vacation. You can get 10% off with the code BUTA with your order at hyperspaceprops.com. They're the title sponsor for Buta Eve. They are brilliant with the credits and the coins. and
Dave
props.
just did a unboxing today of envelope of credits that he received. All of it very high quality looking. I believe it was all metal for the most part.
Yeah.
Credits and some dice, which were very, very cool. We also have a handful of other sponsors. So
yeah, Experience Level Entertainment, RSC, Scotty's Toy Shop, Rebel Base collects comics and toys.
My MTA.
Yeah, I'm
The
sorry.
Nerfburger Company.
It's tiny.
Yeah, a lot of it is small on our screens. Star Wars Fan Fun Day, Elite Signatures, Droids and Dreams Travel. And you can catch the last line.
Walking and Wagon, Andy's boat repair,
K&K Pressing. That one's kind of hard to read.
Pressing, Ruckle Construction and Realty. Go see Ski Ruckle for your construction needs, and Chase the Pack.
So
yeah, thank you so much to all the sponsors.
And Experience Level Entertainment is putting on some amazing shows this coming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if
Comic-Con parties.
If you're in at Comic-Con, that's the party to hit. And they also do an experience that happens over all 3 of those days, I believe. Yeah, if you're gonna hit a party, you're probably gonna want to go to an XLE party.
I'm so excited for you guys. Liberty's like, I see my anchor.
Thank you, Liberty.
Thank you, Liberty.
Ski Pruckle and every other sponsor in the chat. Really appreciate it. This allows us to put on this event. As I mentioned before, like event hosting is expensive. Like you got to get the venues and the people and all the logistics and the time and the energy and the buses and then this and the tickets. Like it goes on and on. And Spencer's really at the helm, but like Jeff and Dave and everyone have done so much work for this. I'm thrilled to be attending and partially helping on like the Monday and Tuesday, but there's so much work going on behind the scenes to make it all happen. And the sponsors allow us to cover like the money aspect of it. Because it's hard enough with the labor, but imagine it like cost us money too. It would be impossible to do. But yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
All of our sponsors. It's gonna be amazing, and like I said, I'll be living vicariously through all of them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bombard you with pictures all day, Ash.
I'm totally fine with that. My phone is totally open. You guys,
I just like mount a camera like a GoPro, and we'll just like have Ashley with us. So
the stream. No, it'll be like that episode of South Park where like they're trick-or-treating as the Avengers, and one of them gets sick and they can't go, so just mount my head on an iPad on a skateboard and just
Oh yeah,
wheel me around the con. We'll
it's
just
the
do
Modern
that.
Family episode with Phil on the iPad with the little scooter kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, do that.
One way to actually give us $1 or $2 is to go to T Public.
Oh, there
We
you
do
go.
make a little bit of money, I think, off of those designs.
I haven't seen
Um,
any new sleeveless T-shirts, so
All right, well,
I'm very upset.
we have
But you
the
can't put those
Handsome Menace
designs
might
on
be
it.
coming up soon.
Yeah,
Handsome
well,
Menace.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Mark shirt if I've ever
Only
seen one.
sleeveless, only in black. With red.
Only
Yeah,
extra tight.
Good
exactly.
show.
I'll be
Good
squeezing into an
show.
extra small. I'm not gonna breathe for a day.
Medium.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we
Good
have
times.
tons of stuff there.
Yes,
Of
Hu
course,
Yang ain't nothing to force with.
The other
Hu
Who ain't
Yang
Who
is
Yang,
for the younglings. The Daughters of the Galaxy collection. What would
which
Hera do?
includes
Freaking
Freaking
for
for
shit,
shit.
y'all. We're
Yep.
so proud of that shirt. And
One of my
course,
favorites.
the Nobody's Ever Really Gone collection. Everybody just comes back, so we'll just throw them on a shirt.
and these are still up
Yes, Cantina Pride shirts.
all year.
Love these. The Patriotic collection. I know the 4th of July just passed, but do your patriotic duty.
Yeah, you can be American all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We even have holiday shirts up there.
Yes. And
That
Christmas is
I
coming.
need for like an ugly sweater situation. We need to
Yes.
have a long
Some of
sleeve
those really
T-shirt
work. Yeah.
that we could do for like ugly
Oh,
sweater.
they're so fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get ahead of that now because I need to order that in like November.
Right.
Okay. All right. I think
Definitely.
that takes us to everything
Alright.
this week. Thank you again, guys, everyone in the chat,
Thank
everyone who
you.
joins us every week. And I know I'm sure everyone is so tired of hearing about the Acolyte. We are not. We are all in on Acolyte. That's all we're talking about. And we're going to do it again on Wednesday. And they're going to do it again on Unifying Force on Sunday.
Yes.
And we're going to
Good,
dissect it for a
watch that.
while. And then we'll do it in person in San Diego and in LA and in Anaheim and everywhere in California. So it's going to be a good time.
Well, we'll catch you guys. Oh, thanks, John. Yep, we'll see you next time. Hopefully, you can join us on Wednesday and Thursday. So, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you as soon as we can on Wednesday.
All right. Bye, guys. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.